Jeff's domain is vast. Though indigenous to Connecticut, he roams the patchouli-scented wilds of Boulder, Colorado. In his natural habitat, Jeff can be seen throwing objects to assert his dominance over nature. We discussed this phenomenon with local Jeff expert and amateur ornithologist Warren Hammond.
The first time I met Jeff was in 2000. I saw him in a gym, which he would go to from time to time. To anybody who knows Jeff knows about his juggling. A wild Jeff that doesn't juggle is not a happy Jeff.
Gravity cannot stop Jeff. Most of the time.
Jeff's juggling has kind of a thud, 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 thud kind of motion. It's very recognizable. I think it's because he's left-handed.
In my expertise as an atomic physicist, I study time and make atomic clocks. I have observed the Jeff effect. My understanding of the Jeff effect is that it just improves all timing. All timing is better with the Jeff effect. And it's my hypothesis that Jeff uses this to have perfect throws and catches, perfect timing in his juggling.
That side.
Here we see that Jeff can even juggle while remaining completely still, except for a subtle Ken Burns effect.
Yeah, juggling with Jeff is like juggling with math and humans at the same time.
Majestic. But juggling depletes Jeff's calorie reserves, which he must replenish before he withers.
Jeff 他最喜欢吃的东西是裤子，他每天吃裤子，这个裤子有时候也是黄色，但是，哎呀。
When it comes time to feed his earthly body, Jeff buckles his chin strap and gets to work. But is he predator or prey?
What you're really asking is, how does he eat? And the answer is viciously and unexpectedly.
Jeff is on the hunt. Success! This kill of ice cream cones will sustain him for the next 6 months. He is quite discerning in his preparation of food, for Jeff is the master of a true art form, the pierogi. Or maybe it's just pirogue.
Apparently pierogi is, I think it's the plural, and pirogue is the singular, but I might have that wrong. Jeff would definitely correct me right now.
I really like how luscious Jeff's pierogies are. He doesn't limit himself to standard pierogies, sometimes they're just outlandish.
But this process is effort-intensive. On occasion, Jeff chooses to conserve energy and target easier prey, as long as it's not avocados, because Jeff is allergic to green.
I mean, he will eat small children, while other animals will too. None do it in quite the same way that Jeff would, it's, he doesn't move, and then all of a sudden strikes.
When Jeff is on the prowl, on the fence, he's kind of like
you can only really observe so much of his eating habits, right? He will fix his food, does it very quickly, and then he crawls underneath the cabinets in the kitchen, and he eats in complete darkness.
Sated, Jeff returns to his den for the night. His dwelling has been thoughtfully provisioned with 1,000 pairs of colorful running shoes, many gravity-defying implements, half-used tubes of chapstick, a pygmy tiger named Kisa, black magic gadgetry, and booby traps.
I'm not sure if I can come up with Darwinian support for booby trapping one's own bathroom mirror, but
The trap is set. But now it is time for rest. Though at times a solitary creature, Jeff can also be seen mingling with other members of his species.
I've been observing Jeff for a number of years. He is a fascinating specimen. He definitely displays the traits of a social creature. I have logged a lot of hours studying him in his solitary habits in and around his den. However, I'd have to say the bulk of my study has come from observing Jeff interacting with the other members of his tribe.
And like any social animal, he sometimes tries to attract a mate. In this intricate dance, Jeff flaunts his sexy silver plumage. But sometimes he ensnares the wrong sort of prey. No matter, Jeff quickly gets back on track. Another male arrives on the scene, flaunting an ancient promenading technique, the name drop. But Jeff remains unthreatened, and even very well off.
Jeff and the other members of his tribe interact with each other in really unique and interesting ways. There's a lot of throwing. They throw things to each other. And I feel like this is a form of communication that they have. It's something I'm trying to study further. I know that they're definitely communicating with the thrown objects, but what are they saying? It could be anything.
After rigorous field observation, the only clear explanation we have for the habits of Jeff is that they are clearly inexplicable. This never-before-seen footage illuminates a most peculiar habit. This behavior could stem from his Polish ancestors, though Jeff is, in fact, not Polish. He has the paperwork to prove it.
it strikes me that your interview questions have run more toward the care and feeding of a Jeff, more like a wildlife study than a documentary.
What is Jeff? Who is Jeff? Even after years of study, we just don't know. Jeff is an occasional chin strap owner, a juggler, a runner, a pierogi master, a lover, a friend, an exploration of personal and public identity, and an inevitably open-ended question into why we exist and what we were put on Earth to do, and even to question whether our perception equates to reality. A friend. Ultimately, Jeff is many things to many people. Like Vegemite, but more universally appreciated, and probably less salty.
Well, Jeff and GIF and GIF are all different things. There can be a GIF of Jeff, or a GIF of GIF, or a GIF of Jeff, but there can't be a Jeff of GIF. And that's what really matters.
So I'm friends with Jeff because I went to school at the Rochester Institute of Technology, And when I got there, I went to one of the juggling classes and met Jeff, and he was impressed with my 5-ball juggling.
I first met Jeff in Manhattan, Kansas at the Little Apple Juggling Festival, and I was terrified of him. He came with Warren, and they were both scary. They were from the East Coast, and they were really, really good jugglers.
In my first summer in Boulder, I was at Warren and Becca's apartment, and I saw a sign that said, "I'm a better juggler than Jeff Lutkus." And I was like, huh, who's this Jeff Lutkus guy, and what does it take to be a better juggler than him?
I don't know how I met Jeff. I don't know when I met Jeff. He's just always sort of been there.
Well, I met Jeff in Rochester, New York, growing up. And I had always wanted to know a man with a real beard that didn't need shoes to run a marathon. And I thought I could find that in Jeff.
He's been working on a half marathon in each of the 50 states, and had the pleasant opportunity to join him for the Wyoming half marathon he did. And while we were up there, we also got some backpacking in, because he knew that was a way to entice me to join him and split up the drive. And yeah, it was a good trip.
Really admired Jeff's dedication to running. And one time in particular, we did a marathon relay, and we did it of course while juggling. So we juggled a marathon.
We've been to many pass outs together, which is where you hang out in the woods and try to make patterns way more difficult than they already are.
One thing that I really like about Jeff's juggling is he's really good at passing. He's got a lot of different knowledge of site swap, and I like that we like a lot of the same passing patterns.
Jeff juggles with the precision of a Swiss-made cephalopod. He just fills the sky with elbows and accuracy.
We used to get together just about every Tuesday at Jeff's place or my place for what we call 10 Club Tuesdays. And that was a chance for him and I to get together and just drill 10 club passing. Yeah, that was just great. We'd get together, pass 10 clubs. We would play some darts maybe, play a game, hang out, chat, whatever. And those were really, really fun times.
Do you think Jeff is better at jeffing or heffing?
As someone who heffs wildly, I think he's much better at jeffing.
Juggling with Jeff is very yellow.
Once you become friends with somebody because of juggling, you're probably going to remain friends with them for your entire life.
Jeff's spirit animal is a koala, because it wants to hug you, but it mostly spends time eating eucalyptus leaves.
Every time I open the box, I think how all of the crayon colors remind me of him.
Jeff is definitely not a paperclip. I can say that with certainty.
Jeff will work really hard to play a prank on you. Like this one, for example. It's a trap! I still have no idea how Jeff pulled this off.
I'm colorblind, and so is Dave Nager. One day, Jeff just walks out of his room, and he's got on one of those colorblind t-shirts, or one of those colorblind tests on a t-shirt, and apparently it said, "I heart colors," but I still to this day do not know if that's the truth.
Well, Jeff keeps his pants in the freezer, but he keeps his ping pong balls in the bathroom. Jeff is a really good gift giver. That's one of the things I like most about Jeff.
Jeff really is a good gift giver. He gave me one of my favorite objects I own, the titanium spork. Very useful in all scenarios.
So we play a game called Alphabeticide, which is where you try to eat an animal for every letter of the alphabet. And one time, Jeff made kangaroo pierogi and served it at his pierogi party. But unfortunately, I was out of town for his pierogi party and I couldn't make it. But when I got back, Jeff messaged me saying, "Hey, I have something for you." And lo and behold, he hands me a Tupperware full of kangaroogie. So Jeff got me my letter K. So thanks, Jeff. And also, I still have your Tupperware.
Jeff also gave me this little Waldo guy who has followed me from Boston to Colorado and more places because of a Twitter account I made. Jeff helped me find myself. Thanks, Jeff.
Caw! 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 Caw!
Actually, Jeff gave me this shirt. Do you want to see my llama? Yeah? Ta-da! Thanks, Jeff!
Jeff's wit is sharp and dry, like a blasting sandstorm, but more mathematical.
So one of the reasons I'm still friends with Jeff is that I didn't piss him off enough when we were roommates in college. So fortunately, we both love juggling. We enjoy games. We're nerds.
Nobody plays Ticket to Ride like Jeff.
He hates cooperative games, so we can't play anything, that's fun. So...
I haven't really noticed a change in size of Jeff since I first met him till now, so it would be hard to extrapolate what kind of environment he would need to grow. It clearly isn't Boulder. He's remained the same size throughout the time I've known him.
I'm gonna miss the opportunity to have getting Jeff drunk parties.
Jeff always sends me really nice stuff in the mail. This year, for my birthday, I only got 2 cards, and one of them was from Jeff. The other one was from my aunt, but Jeff cared.
Okay, you work with atoms. Do you also work with Jeffs?
Well, a Jeff clock is really still a theoretical thing, as we have not yet learned how to cool and trap Jeffs. We've learned how to cool and trap atoms, but we're still working on the laser cooling of Jeffs. I'll get back to you on that one.
It was actually Bierstadt Sawtooth Evans. Jeff was like a gazelle, just like hopping from rock to rock, just up the mountain. 10.5-mile loop. I got really fucking sunburned on my head. That was really bad. Jeff had a hat, so he didn't get sunburned.
Jeff the concept is quite creamy. But Jeff the tangible being is actually quite crunchy.
Something I think that's worth appreciating about Jeff is he's the kind of person you could secretly make a documentary about for 5 years, give or take.
So Jeff is really great because he's always down to participate and instigate shenanigans. And I bought all of his clubs, so now it's like, I'm Jeff.
Jeff eats pierogi with his elbows. Jeff only eats pierogi, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, he did help me get this job that I currently have, because I don't really have all that much computer experience, so the fact that he sort of vouched for me to get my foot in the door to allow me to get my job was really good, really nice thing.
Jeff is really good at Rubik's Cubes. I'm not sure if he can solve them, because I've never seen him do them, but they're always solved when I see them at his apartment.
Clearly he interacts with physics in a way unknown to mankind.
I also think I have the distinction of being one of the very few people who knows both Jeff's middle name and birthday.
You just know,
You know everything.
that he's mysterious,
Yeah.
and that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
The first thing to know is he's left-handed.
The second thing to know about Jeff is that he's barefoot.
How are we responding to these allegations that most of our documentary won't stand up to investigative journalism?
If people think we made up this stuff in Jeffumentary, just look at our Jeff expert, Warren Hammond.
I don't think it's so much that Jeff hates mayonnaise. I think it's just that he's much better than him.
The third thing to know about Jeff is his seagull-like attention to detail.
But he introduced me to Tony, and Tony introduced me to Jeff. No, these are just clubs you put in the shape of a man.
Oh, schnitz. And he had a kangaroo on his back.
You're gonna show this to Jeff? Jeff's gonna see this.